Look, I don't care how you're doing. I don't care who you are. I want to know the numbers. How many numbers? How much did you sell today? How many widgets did you fix today? How many reports did you run today? How, get tell me the KPIs. Strictly business. It's business, right? It's a very, I would argue cold, facts based, numbers based interaction. And there are a lot of companies that roll like that. And again, there are certain personalities that are more task oriented. The D's and C's, the dominants and the conscientiouses, are more task oriented. The I's and the S's, the influencers and the steadies, are more relational oriented. Welcome to the EQ Gangster podcast, where you will learn practical tools to grow your mental and emotional health and intelligence to be the best version of yourself, both at work and at home. It is real, raw, and transformational. The journey of emotional growth isn't easy, but it's worth it. I believe in you. EQ Gangsters. So, this episode is going to be about transactional approach versus a relational approach, which takes EQ. Transactional approach of leadership and team building versus a relational approach of leadership and team building. And then also even your family. So what's the effect? Now here's some other perspective. So let's see, how do I talk about this? Got a couple scenarios I want to share with you all to discuss it. So let me define my terms. So there are some yeah, I'll define my terms here in just a second. There are some personalities that that have an easier time doing a transactional approach. There are some personalities that have an easier time doing a relational approach of leadership and team building and stuff. And I would also okay, so there's that. Now, transactional approach is a very facts based, numbers based, metrics based, KPI based approach to leadership and relationships. And then a relational based approach is like its definition, or like its name. It's a leader approach and a team approach based on or with an emphasis on relationships. And I've got clients that do both, where look, I don't care how you're doing. I don't care who you are. I want to know the numbers. How many numbers? How much did you sell today? How many widgets did you fix today? How many reports did you run today? How, get tell me the KPIs. Strictly business. It's business, right? It's a very, I would argue cold, facts based, numbers based interaction. And there are a lot of companies that roll like that. And and again, there are certain personalities that are more task oriented. The D's and C's, the dominants and the conscientiouses, are more task oriented. The I's and the S's, the influencers and the steadies, are more relational oriented. And are there some scenarios or some jobs that maybe the transactional approach is more effective in? Maybe, I'm sure there's a scenario. I think maybe it's possible to be a transactional sales person and still be able to get results. I still think a relational approach could get you better results, but I've seen it. In fact, when one of my one of my jobs. In fact, here's a real scenario. I One of my jobs when I left the military was with the National Federation of Independent Business, the NFIB. And nationally, you see their little black and gold stickers on a lot of small business owner doors, brick and mortar doors. National Federation of Independent Business supported small business owners, but it took like a business owner's donation or investment into NFIB, and then NFIB would provide all these resources and support for that small business. So you'd literally walk into a small business, a pizza shop, a pawn shop, a Mexican restaurant, a bank, whatever the business was. Hey, can I talk to the business owner? You talk to the business owner, business owner comes up, hey, what's up on the business owner? My name is Noble with the National Federation of Independent Business. We have a truckload of resources to support you in your business as a small business owner. Would you like to invest, you know, $200, $500, or $1,000? I don't remember the pitch. It's been 20 years ago. And to get me spun up to go around and do this with businesses, and you're walking in doors, knocking on doors, literally going in the business and cold turkey kind of thing, old school sales. And the most successful NFIB sales rep, like in the company, there was a dude that I had a chance to meet and ride with. So I got to go with him, shadow him as he would walk into these different businesses. And for me, it was brutal. He was a very high D personality, dominant personality. And it was 100% transactional. And he killed it. Now, again, what's the relationship like? The relationship is you are literally walking in and he would give a 5-minute sales pitch and they would either say yes or no. And they would, regardless if they said yes or no, they would never see him again. And now that small business owner just interacts directly with NFIB, the company. So there was no ongoing relationship with that sales rep and that small business. It was one and done. There's no ongoing relationship. So in that case, that transactional approach, I mean, this guy, he was making, I don't remember, $10, $20, $30,000 a month with that approach, with a transactional approach. But again, there's zero ongoing relationship, and it was a 5-minute conversation. And it was yes or no, and he was just doing the numbers. He would walk into X number of businesses, he would close X number of deals, and he just moved on down the road. Didn't care if they said yes or no. He was going to do the transaction. As a relationship guy, high I, for me, I want to get to know somebody. I want to ask them about their business. I want to ask them about themselves, all these things, right? I'm slow because I want to, obviously I'm spending, I was spending 20 or 30 minutes with that business owner. And this guy is like, dude, you suck at sales, bro. Like you can't sell like this. In one work day, he's like, I'm hitting 20 or 30 businesses. You're going to be lucky if you hit 5 businesses with how much you're talking to people, right? So the relational approach did not work very well. I was not successful at that job. And the transactional approach crushed it. Now, here's my caveat. Here's the other scenario. The other scenario is one of my clients has a leader who is, so one of my clients is relational. And his boss, who happens to be a very strong D, dominant personality, is 100% transactional. And my client, who's a senior guy, but again has a boss above him, who is, here's the irony. The irony is my client is also a dominant personality. But this is my caveat. Here's where the transactional approach does not work, in my opinion. A transactional approach, leadership approach, when you have to develop somebody else in an ongoing relationship, the transactional approach falls short. And forget about it. If I have a transactional leader above me as my boss, that I get called, let's say every week I get a call. Hey Noble, how are your numbers? Okay, well, why aren't your numbers better? What are you doing that your numbers aren't as good? Oh, okay, your numbers are great. Okay, great. I'll call you next week. And that's the extent of the conversation. I'm out. I'm out, bro, faster than you can say Shazam. Dude, you treat me like a number? No, hell no. No, 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 no. I am not going to be treated like a number, like a widget in your cog, in your machine. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how much you're paying me. You treat me like a cog, bro. No, 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 no. I'm not your guy. You find somebody else. An I or an S that gets treated like a cog is going to here's my point. A couple things. A transactional approach in leadership or leader development or team development is going to create very minimal engagement and therefore results. A transactional approach is not going to inspire it. Think about this in your career. Think about, in fact, this is a great exercise. Do this exercise. List out your transactional leaders, list out your relational leaders. Which leaders brought the best out of you? In fact, that's another great list. What leaders brought the best out of you? That's a great question. What leaders brought the best out of you? Were they transactional or were they relational? Now, here's what I'm not saying, because I know I've probably got some transactional leaders maybe that are listening or watching the YouTube channel or listening to the podcast. Am I saying that numbers aren't important, that metrics and KPIs aren't important? No, I'm not saying that at all. Absolutely, numbers, KPIs, all that stuff are important. They become numbers. I'll tell you this. This is funny way to say it. Numbers and KPIs are not important to a relational personality if the leader does not care about the relationship. That's fire. That's fire. If you want numbers and KPIs, key performance indicators and metrics to matter to a relational personality, you've got to lead them with a relational approach. Otherwise, they won't. I don't care about the numbers if you don't care about me. That's fire. I don't care about the numbers if you don't care about me. If you don't show me that you care about me, guess what? I don't give a rat's rear end about your freaking golden numbers. Don't care. Don't care. So that's great. So if you want numbers to matter to me, you better care about me. And then I'll care about the numbers. That's great. If you care about me, I will care about the numbers. But if you don't care about me, I do not care about the numbers. So for all my transactional leaders out there, for my D's and C's potentially, there's an I leader out there, there's some I leaders out there who can come across very transactional. I will tell you, A way to get some immediate traction in your business. This is fire. A way to get some immediate traction in your business is to step up your level of intention and connection and caring with your team members. That I'm telling you, try me, try me, try me, try me. If there is a lack of engagement and performance, that would be for me one of the first places to start. I would start doing one-on-ones with everybody on my team and asking them, how are you doing? Where are you at? How are you feeling? And be ready, because if you haven't been used to that approach, be ready to hear some negative. Be ready to hear some constructive criticism, some constructive feedback. Well, man, Noble, I just haven't felt cared. Well, the way I say it is shoved. I haven't felt shoved, Noble. I haven't felt seen, heard, understood, or valued by you. When's the last time you've done a one-on-one with me, Noble? Well, man, it's been 6 months. It's been 3 months. It's been a year. And did you expect me to feel close to you? You expect me to perform for you when I'm a freaking number to you? No. Man, dude, you're right. You're right. I got nothing to say. You're right. You're 100% right. I have been negligent in making you feel shoved, seen, heard, understood, valued, and cared about. I, dude, you're right. I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry for not making you feel seen, heard, understood, valued, and cared about. I'm so sorry. I will change by having more consistent monthly, weekly, semi-monthly, whatever, one-on-ones with you, so that we can stay. I want you to feel connected. And here's the deal, right? So here's the deal. So the client that I have who's got a transactional leader is starting to experience the shift, because the previous leader was relational, and this dominant personality was like all in, dude. I'll go to hell and back for this guy, because he felt cared about. Even this dominant personality, who maybe even had a tendency to be transactional, but felt cared about, and therefore performed more. Now with this new transactional leader, guess what? Doesn't feel shoved, doesn't feel seen, heard, understood, valued, or cared about, and therefore, and doesn't feel connected. So you don't care about me, I don't care about the numbers. And engagement is starting to drop a little bit. So, oh man, new hires. I got another scenario. This new hire has a transactional leader. And guess what? Does not feel part of the company, doesn't feel cared about, feels like a number, feels like a widget, feels like a cog in the machine, and not performing, not given their all, because they don't feel shoved. So okay, now I'm going to give you some numbers here. Harvard study. Let me see if I can find these. Now, I know the numbers, but let me see if I can read some of the specific comments that were brought up in this. Okay, yeah, here we go. Okay, Harvard study. The study is called "Would You Give a Stranger Your Phone?" That's the name of this study. It consists of 2 scenarios and a question. Scenario 1, you are standing in the rain at a train station. A stranger approaches and politely says, "Can I borrow your cell phone?" Scenario 1, can I borrow your cell phone? Scenario 2, you are standing in the rain at a train station. A stranger approaches and politely says, "I'm so sorry about the rain. Can I borrow your cell phone?" Question: to which stranger are you more likely to respond? That's the study. So I'm going to read this excerpt to you from a book called Culture Code. Fire. At first glance, there's not a lot of difference between the 2 scenarios, Both strangers are making an identical request that involves a significant leap of trust. Besides, the more important factor here would seem to have less to do with them than with you, namely your natural disposition toward handling a valuable possession to a stranger. All in all, a reasonable person might predict that the two approaches would yield roughly equal response rates, and a reasonable person would be wrong. When Allison Wood Brooks of Harvard Business School performed the experiment, she discovered that the second scenario, which is, if you connected the dots already, the relational approach. Scenario one was transactional. Can I borrow your cell phone? Scenario two, I'm so sorry about the rain. Can I borrow your cell phone? Was a relational approach. Caused the response rate to jump to, what do you think? What do you think the response rate was? What do you think the difference was? 422% response rate with the second scenario, with the relational approach. 422% response rate difference. Those 6 words, I'm so sorry about the rain, transformed people's behavior. They were sent an unmistakable signal. This is a safe place to connect. You hand over your cell phone and you create a connection without even thinking. Relational versus transactional, 422% response rate with a relational approach. Think about that. So when have you had a relational leader? When have you had a transactional leader? How did you feel under both of those leadership styles? And how are you as a leader? Are you more relational leader? Are you more a transactional leader? How can you be more intentional at deepening the connection between you and your family, between you and your team members? Thank you all so much for being on this journey, becoming the best version of yourself, the emotionally healthiest, best version of yourself, the most emotionally fit version of yourself is so worth it for you and for everyone around you.